Good morning, traders out there. How we doing out there? Who's ready to get it started? It's time for another day here at Trade the Pool. Of course, ready to get to the markets, ready to keep battling. It was a red day for me yesterday. Down a decent amount in the main account. Also, the limited account, though, in the green and starting to move in the right directions. Really excited about the limited account because it's really giving me also an opportunity. I hope it's giving you an opportunity. And if you don't know what you're talking about, of course, go to our website, check out the limited edition eval that's out right now. It's a really great deal. It's not only a great deal because of the cost, but I think it's a great deal because of the requirements needed, right, to get that funded account. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and do so. Let's take a look at today's playbook and see what we can come up with. All right, playbook one, we'll take a look at Pakar again as we continue to watch this stock start to make a lift. And I saw mentions that Trump was mentioning on Caterpillar and getting that to make a big lift. So let's take a look at the chart right now. You guys can see it right now. Pakar starting to move towards that 100. Of course, I have this on a swing. I have it at a good price level. I actually have this down by 98.56 I added yesterday, but I was actually closer towards like 96. So I added yesterday. I double sized on this and now looking for the break above the 100 into that gap zone to the left. And if you take a look at Deere, you can see Deere already into a really nice zone, could break around the 420s and then start to head to 460. Let's take a look at Cat. Out, like I've talked about, a cat's out the hat, and look at that, all the way up there to 390 now, and this is a real takeoff from the bottom. You can see this is about 18%, and you guys know we've been watching Cat, Deere, and Pakar for a long time, and a lot of this was due to the interest rates cutting down. XLI, look at the XLI continuing strong. So this also tells me that be careful with that Boeing short, guys. This could flip in an instant, especially if they're able to close the deal. And then next thing you know, it's actually supporting the XLI. And this is why I also talked about it yesterday about airlines. Keep your eyes on the airlines. They could still make a move today. We'll see what happens there with some of those plays. Let's get to the second one as we take a look at Morgan Stanley. And this is actually going to be a short alert, as I was looking at this stock yesterday for a short, and it was trying to cut down through this 102 multiple times, and now I'll be looking to see if we actually get that cut down. You can see how we kept going back towards a level, and I can draw a trend line now to kind of watch for the breakdown, right? So a move back through that 102 starting to break down is something that I'm definitely keeping an eye out for. The stock has been rising, climbing it right back. But like I've mentioned, these banks aren't going to have as good of a time as they did when interest rates were higher. I think you'll start to see deposits getting pulled as people are a little bit concerned and want to probably look for return going into next year. So we'll see what happens here in Morgan Stanley. Can it make that cut down through the 102? I say also keep your eyes, of course, XLF. Really weak day yesterday, even though the market and some of these names weren't breaking down as much. Why was XLF getting hit? It was getting hit because of Visa, of course, as Visa's down to 273. And it wasn't only Visa that got hit yesterday. You got MasterCard to take a hit. You got AXP to take a hit, right? American Express. Well, all of these are taking a hit due to the DOJ's mentions. We'll talk a little bit about those coming up, but definitely keep your eyes on Morgan Stanley and the financial sector. Let's go to the third one here as we take a look at Meta, and Meta will have their Connect event today. I've been talking about how this could have helped them got the lift into the move, as a lot of times you'll get the buy the rumor, sell the news event, right? And the rumors have been already out there about Meta and this event, right? What's the rumors out there? It's going to be a Oculus that's cheaper. It doesn't include like kind of the handles, and includes a different sensor, a cheaper sensor, right? To give it an ability to go towards more of that cheaper consumer. And a lot of this is more and more trying to get people to actually even test out the Oculus, as they still haven't taken off like I expected. Even I expected the Oculus kind of 3 to really take off. And yes, it has made an improvement, but we haven't seen that lift that we expected. All right, we'll see what happens with this action. That's going to do it for our playbook action. We'll move over to the Sunrise Report. There's a couple of stocks to talk about. There's a couple of news items to definitely get into. And of course, we'll get to the live trading action. We need to go ahead and take a look. There's stocks moving all over the place this morning. I saw oil was jumping all around. I saw a couple of names get a nice little lift. So let's get right to it. Let's go take a look at right now. We'll go to the Sunrise Report and see what's moving in the market. All right, team, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look. We're going to start off here. We'll start with, of course, and mention on the overall market, as right now you're seeing a lot of talk out there. And I think it's very important to take a look at what's being talked about, right? So there's pretty much all three indexes are looking good for September. And that's a surprise because we all talk about the seasonality that could come into play towards the end of the month. It's actually the toughest week for the markets. And I'm still on alert for quick downside action. I am. And maybe it's just the bear in me, but I definitely think it's something to look at. And I saw this mentioned out there on the streets, right? And I think it's very important to take a look at certain chief market strategists that actually give you some good insights. So let's talk a little bit about here New York's Life Investment. Laura Goodwin, she said that I'm a buyer of this rally until unemployment claims start rising, earnings start declining, and growth becomes a problem. Big comments there. And I actually think dead on. And there's very few times that I catch these experts and think dead on, right? This is clearly one of them. So let's take a look at what's going on in the market. Let's see what's going to happen. And of course, eyes open for unemployment to rise, earnings to start to decline, or growth being a problem. Any of those three are areas to start being a little bit concerned about this rally. All right, let's get to now. We'll talk a little bit about Microsoft. Let's go to Softy and see how that chart's looking. It's right now trading at like 430. Let's go take a look to see the market action on Microsoft this morning. You can see it's trying to get a little bit of a lift. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Trying to get a little push this morning. Of course, this declined a significant amount yesterday, and we can talk about it, right? The CEO reaffirming the company's commitment to Mexico during a Microsoft AI tour and announcing a $1.3 billion investment over the next 3 years to boost AI infrastructure and initiatives, right? We'll see what happens here, right? I'll tell you one thing. If Trump becomes president, this could easily change, right? I haven't heard mentions Trump saying that he's going to do 100% tariff charge on any vehicle that crosses from Mexico. We all know how Trump feels about Mexico. He ain't too happy about them. Let's just say that much. So we'll see what happens here with this investment in Microsoft. Let's go over now to, of course, everybody's favorite or a recent favorite stock, Nvidia, as it got a nice boost yesterday. And what was I talking about during the trading show, guys? And I think this is so important. I know you guys probably caught it, the people that are here every single day, but I was saying it clearly that it felt like yesterday the market was wanting to come down, but Nvidia kept holding it up. And this is before the big rip in Nvidia. Out of nowhere, Nvidia just started pushing to the ceiling. That was a clear sign there that it was going to rise the market. That's why I was talking about how Nvidia just kept being that wall. And there you guys see it. I was looking at it. I could see it on the price action. And then out of nowhere, the volume came in and boom, went rocketing Nvidia. And why? Well, the talk's out there, right? Some people are saying it was because the CEO, Jensen Huang, sold over 700 million in shares on their prearranged plan. And the move was, of course, a strategy to sell up to 6 million shares by the end of Q1 in 2025. So on this look, they said that the prearranged plan is completely done. So at this point, he doesn't need to sell anymore, at least from this plan. And he should be done selling. So that should take off a little bit of the pressure in the stock. I think another thing to think about, why would he want to sell the stock up here? If he thinks that the stock is going to continue to move higher and continue to push to that next level, why would he sell some? Well, clearly, Nvidia CEO is saying what? I'll sell it to you out there that's buying it right now and wants to trade it, wants to invest up here. Well, I will take my money and you guys can invest with it up here. And that's the truth. Nvidia is taking advantage right now. And at least the CEO is like, well, you guys gave me the lift. I'm going to take the money and make sure that I secure this money in my bank account, right? Because if he just stayed in there, it could easily come all crashing back down. And next thing you know, he ruins all that wealth that he just made. So clearly made the right decision there, taking the money and paying himself and really just saying sold to you out there. So let's keep going. Let's take a look at different markets. Let's talk a little bit about something that isn't the biggest news, but OpenAI has started rolling out advanced voice models for ChatGPT. So that could affect, of course, names that have invested in OpenAI, like Microsoft, right? Or something like that. I mean, honestly, I don't expect this affecting any stocks today, but it's something to think about as they move further and further in the AI products. All right, let's go to Visa. Of course, Visa getting destroyed yesterday and probably going to continue being destroyed as the Department of Justice sued Visa for monopolizing the debit card market. And this is, of course, going to affect other areas because what if they're not the only ones doing it, right? You saw MasterCard take a hit. You saw American Express take a hit. And just to mention that Trump mentioned, he said that he would want to keep credit cards to a max interest rate of 10%. That would destroy a lot of credit card makers, right? I mean, they probably can't make the money that they're making if that were to happen. I don't even know if Trump could make that change happen, but just to mention some things that were out there makes me not feel confident about investing in Visa and MasterCard. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other action. Last one to talk about. We talked about it yesterday. Of course, the Central Bank of China cutting the reserve requirements by 50 basis points to stimulate growth, and something that we definitely need to keep an eye out for. We were talking about it before it happened on Tuesday, but now what's going on? Well, the stocks are pulling back, and it's clear as day as we're getting a nice little pullback event today. And I'll be watching to see if they can fill the gap. What happens often, right? Take a look at the action here in BABA. This will tell you it all. A lot of times it gaps up and pulls back to the support, gaps up and pulls back to the support, gaps up and pulls back to the support, gaps up, could be pulling back to the support. I'd be looking for moves back down closer towards 92 and 90. Somewhere in there, I could maybe take a bet, but right now is not the time for me. So I'll be watching for yin to do the same. Come down towards the 27, find a little bit of buyers, and then I can go after the China names. We'll see what happens here in China. Can we continue getting the lift? The other ones that could really come down, and it could be even a bet on the downside, are these auto manufacturers. Because the truth is that a lot of the different countries are actually betting against these EVs and have added tariffs and things like that to go against these EVs. So like this LI, I could easily see it filling the gap back towards the 22. We'll see what happens on China EV and China overall. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the Sunrise Report. It's time to get you guys over to the live trading action side of things, and I'm ready to get after it. Yesterday, I opened up my biggest position yet, ended up in a little bit of a hit, but hey, that's how it goes. As you keep going bigger and bigger, the losses just get bigger, but guess what? The wins get bigger also. And as long as we can stay to the right risk to reward ratio, we could be bouncing back just today. So stay tuned, traders. Come over to the live trading action and find out what I can get into today.
Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
What up out there, traders? How we doing? Good morning to you guys. It's good to see you guys out there. And Trader Life, Eli out there. It's good to see you guys in the chat. And if you're new to the show, for any reason, say hello. I always like to catch new traders in the chat. So, hey, Let's see what you guys are looking at in the market today, and let's see what we can come up with. Let's go taking a look to see what is moving in the market this morning. And I'm trying to trade, maybe even right now in the pre-market. One of the best parts of Trade the Pool is that we can trade in the pre-market. So let's take a look to see what we can come up with. All right, guys, let's go looking into this. Let's see what's moving right now. As a matter of fact, I always take a look here. I always got a little scanner here that I'm using. I'm seeing right now a little bit of a warrant moving. This WINT trying to make a little bit of a lift. We've seen this stock move before. It's nothing that's making me feel confident. Look at that thing up and down there. Definitely not the best one there. TNON is one that I'm keeping a close eye on. This thing had a huge spike up there to 540s in the morning. I almost caught it, guys. I got to be honest. I was literally seconds away from trying to buy this, but it was right here. And I'll show you guys right when I was looking at it. It just had popped into the 460. So it just had popped. It was going sideways here, and I was looking for a 450 pullback. You can see the 9 EMA right there, and I had an order ready to try to buy at 450, but the spread was 465 by 450. So I didn't want to just buy 465 because easily it goes to the 550 and we're back at 440s and I'm getting hit. What happened? Sideways action popped. They bought that 465 on the offer. It went right towards that action. And from that point, just took off, right? So I couldn't go and chase it. I didn't want to just buy up there at the 480s. It just took off there to the 5, but then pulled back right back to this level. There was a big buyer that was set up there at 444, and he did get hit on this pullback candle. I will let you guys know that. That's some insight that many traders wouldn't tell you. And how they tell you, how can I tell you that? Look at the volume change right there. So he was just sitting there, sitting there, sitting there. It went right back to him, 444. So I always try to give you guys insights when I see them on the tape. And that was clearly one of them here. So we'll see what happens if this can start to lift again. 450 holds is a good level. It just held at 450. We could make a run right now in the pre-market. There's no reason why this can't run. And of course, this one has had a crazy chart before. We'll see if this one wants to make another lift through the 450s, through the 460s, and start to push there back towards 5. The setup's there right now. Let's go take a look at the level 2 right now. I want to see what's going on the tape. To see how the orders are lined up here. And you got a pullback order towards 430s, 444s. There's not much on that level now. And on the sell side, kind of lining up, I don't see too much there. So very light on the top end of the book. Tells me that you could take it. You just need some buyers to step up here and take that 460. We'll see if it starts to make a move back towards 475 and $5. If not, it could be a wipeout through the 450. Always something to keep in mind. All right, we'll take a look at some smaller names. Also, yesterday, a lot of names moving around. There was one move that came right back down. What was it? Was it BKSI or was it BKSY? I'm not sure. This is Black Sky. It's not this one. We'll see, guys. Definitely going to keep an eye out on the different smaller names, but let's go to some of the bigger names and definitely take a look at the action that happened there. Caterpillar, as of late, really getting that lift. We'll continue to watch to see what happens there. I saw oil definitely take a hit this morning. It was definitely declining. We'll look to see if it keeps declining. It could just be an opportunity on the pullback on XOM, right? We've talked about this one for a while. We drew the line that it came back to. It went right to it. Now trying to reload here. Could be coming to the 115s first, but hey, something to definitely look at here is XOM. Can it keep pushing? The MACD had a nice little movement to the upside. We'll see if it can keep pushing. Tesla got up there as high to 257. So we're definitely reaching near the top end of this. I think we can maybe make a one more attempt run towards 270s before the event. After that, I think it's all room is open for this to even come back towards like 230s. It's going to depend on how the event goes at that point. And like always, I like to buy the rumor and sell the news. So once we get to the news, I'll be looking to maybe hit this back on the downside. The same way I'll be looking at Meta today, as Meta is on the alert, guys, as we will be having the Connect event today, as I will look for what? A pop towards the high. I just want to see a quick pop towards 574, 578, maybe even 580s. And then at that point, I'm going to view that as a topping point. Look for a topping formation the next day or two to really come after Meta on the downside. So short time play, really short time to the upside, and then out like, let's say, a week or two looking for downside to come in to Meta. We'll see what happens there, as I'll look to see if it's a buy the rumor and sell the news. Very quiet this morning, says Day Trade with Tony. I thought so too. I didn't see much action on the tape, and there wasn't much volume. That also tells us, right? So a lot of times I'll look at, like, let's say the top movers in the morning, right? The top gappers, right? And then I look at the volume, and I'm trying to see what is actually trading, right? What is getting the move, right? There's this Octo that's had a pretty decent volume today, not the worst volume, and I'm keeping a very close eye on this one today. I was watching it here at the bottom around 350s is where it made sense. It did eventually go to 351. It didn't hit 350 right on the dot, but keeping a close eye on it. It's starting to come back. There's just not much there on the upside move, right? Like, how much are you going to get there? Like maybe 50 cents. And we all know how these have a tendency of moving. TNON is one that I watched, but we'll see if that one actually wants to make a lift. And there's just not much there, at least for the time being. Seeing MLGO moving out there, but hey, we'll see what happens on this one. What happened to that KAVL one that you guys were trading? Ooh, never made the move and just kind of went sideways yesterday. At some point, this one might just crack back right below that $1. SMMT, what's going on with that one? Did we start to make a move back to the upside? Yeah, we at least established a support here, support around the 22 spot. So if you guys want to take a look at this one, it doesn't look too bad. All right, guys, let's keep things going. You guys know what you're at. It's great to pool. Let me know what trades you guys are looking at in the market today. SMMT, definitely one that will be on the radar. We'll look to see if we get the push there towards the 34. It's been an absolute monster. The volume has died off, though. That's one thing to keep an eye open for. Wait to look to see if we get some volume increase into the move. All right, looking around to see what else is moving in the morning. I did see, of course, KBH Homes. That didn't go so well. Their earnings there, not that great, guys. So definitely KBH Home not doing the best here, as their earnings definitely taking a hit on the downside. And then I saw mentions out there, right, that maybe that the lower rates would provide a way for these companies to get the lift. I think it could continue pushing these names, but we can't forget that these stocks are on a big rise. Up 172% is KBH Home since 2023. Look at Toll Brothers since 2023. That's up a whopping 214%. If we take a look at other names, right, there's so many names here in the builders that definitely have made a crazy move. Just take a look at the ITB, the Home Construction Index. And yes, this is continuing to lift. And I do think that it still has a little bit of legs. It's not the biggest move anymore. I think that maybe we keep going a little bit more, but at some point, these will be turnaround stories. But what has to happen first? The consumer needs to break first for this trade to even start to break down. So I wouldn't be concerned with these names, right? And you were right, Day Trade Tony. I want to give you a shout out. BNZI was the one that I was thinking about a little bit earlier. But Toll Brothers, right? What will happen to these names? Well, the consumer needs to break first, right? So I would still first watch for the retail trade to be the first sign of disaster, right? You need that first sign of disaster to even look into this area for the downside, right? Because things will fall like a domino. It doesn't fall just all in one day. It will fall like a domino. One piece will fall that will knock over the rest. Really, the first piece that needs to fall is the consumer. Once the consumer stops spending, and we know how we're an economy that grows on spending. That's truly how we grow our economy. We grow it on our own people, right? Because we spend, and that's how we keep GDP higher. But if we stop that spending, recession concerns come back in, and then unemployment starts to spike. That's when you start looking for the home builders to take the hit, because they're doing this oversupply move. And I've talked about this countless times. The oversupply to the market at some point will cause a demise in these home builders. I'm even needing to do a video on this. I've done the video on what I expect to be a bank disaster still coming up. And now I need to do the video on maybe potentially a housing fall, housing stocks fall. We'll see. I'll be talking about that, of course, working on different videos. I've done it before, and I love doing deep dive videos when I can show you guys the research in the numbers and the exposure of risk in these companies. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at the different market out there and see what's moving. BNZI, let's take a look how that one is. Came right back down, man. That thing was up there just recently. Yesterday was ripping there towards 1011. I even remember when I was thinking about shorting it at the 1080 spot. Boy, oh boy, that would have been a good one. But now back down the 550s into the gap zone. And this could easily be back at 452, or maybe tries to reload, right? You can see the pattern. It was very similar pattern that it eventually broke out of, right? So straight downtrend, and then all of a sudden a pop. Straight downtrend, could give you that pop again. Definitely nothing that I want to trade here on this BNZI, unless it's telling me, hey, look at me. For right now, I'm leaving it on the sideline. TNON trying to get back up above the 460s there to make the move. It's still not finding the buyers. That's really what it is. It's set up there, but no buyers really ready to take it. All right, looking around, guys, take a look at the SPY. The SPY just hanging out. Yesterday, making that down move was the Qs, and it hit the hourly low, went through the hourly low, and whipsawed right back to the upside. So I think we just continue to watch hourly lows to see if those break, right? So I'm going to delete a bunch of lines here as these are not needed anymore and probably not valid, right? Even the trend line that we drew here is not valid. I would just be looking at this level. As long as we stay above the 482s right now on the Qs, we're still looking good for upside action back to the break. So we'll be watching to see what happens here. And don't forget it, guys. Yes, we could make some down moves, but the truth is the market is still strong right now. Micron reporting tonight. That's going to be vital for the semiconductors. If this is a disaster report to start it off, we'll see what happens. And that could start the downside action move, right? We could have a bullish day, and then Micron comes in tonight and gets wrecked. Well, then we come in bearish tomorrow, right? We'll see what happens there. DJT was moving this morning. Trump media. I'll tell you one thing. I'm trying my best just to stay away from this stock, because this stock, every single time it looks like it's going to make a move, even this morning, it looked like it was going to make a pop above 1370s, go to the 14s, make a run. Well, there it goes, right back down. It just goes to show you, if you guys believe in DJT, you guys might be the one that are getting sold into, right? So it just seems like everybody that's invested in this is in underwater. And just look at the chart. Majority of investors are underwater. And that's when they start to wanting to do what? Get the hell out. Look at the volume as of late. All those traders saying, well, you know what? I need to get the hell out of this thing. And that's why you're seeing that volume increase. I don't think it's buyers stepping up. I think it's people worried. Now, you will see some buyers step up as you get closer to what? Closer to November. That's when I think you can maybe take a shot on this. Because if Trump wins, yes, this thing is rocketing higher. But if Trump loses, where does this stock go? It could go to zero. So, hey, keep your eyes open. We'll see what happens in this situation. We're getting closer to the elections, 45 days out. So not too long now, guys. Keep your eyes on this. Like I've mentioned, towards the end of October, I'll be looking to see if this is still weak. If it's still weak, then maybe I take a shot. But right now, I think you're playing with some fire. All right, what's going on out there, guys? How we doing? Don't have any gappers on my list, so DKNG, Moderna, and Airbnb. All right, not too bad. Good morning out there, guys. How we doing, FJF? What are we looking at, guys? Octo for the quick short scalp. Yeah, the problem there is that you're betting on a smaller cap name to come down, even though it's kind of moving slowly. I like them to move fast on the way down, right? So they can just kind of really break, but we'll see what happens. It doesn't look like a bad one there, but it's a packaging and container company, right? One thing I'll tell you guys, I have some insight today. And I'll tell you what, guys, let's see how many likes I can get. I do see that we got a quite a few amount out there, guys. Press 1 if you guys want some secret insight. Not really a secret, but I'll tell you one thing. Most investors are missing this. You guys know how I always like to look forward at events and give you guys the information. I talked about Boeing before the labor dispute started. And guess what? I have another labor dispute that you guys have to keep your eyes open for. So traders out there, smash the like. Let's keep going. What do you think about PDD? We'll talk about that in just a second, Michael. Throw a number 1 if you guys want me to tell you guys about this trade idea. And it's so important, traders, because I'll tell you right now, you want to be catching these moments, guys. So right here, it's always about trying to give you guys some information, right? So I got something for you guys, and you guys don't want to miss out on this information here. It's going to be a good one, right? So we got a big time situation that's going on in what? This is going on in shipping stocks, right? So I'm going to give you guys the information here and something that you guys all need to pay attention to. So watch out as there's potential strike that's looming here for 45,000 longshoremen on the East and Gulf Coast that may strike on October 1st, impacting 36 major U.S. ports. Why is this important? Well, of course, these ports handle half, I said it, of the U.S. ocean imports, affecting goods like cars, clothing, bananas, machinery, and of course, shipping delays and cost increases that could happen because of this. Delays in container shipment and could create backlogs and cause what? Could cause increases in shipping costs, potentially exacerbating inflation concerns. And what has been happening in the Middle East, more and more tankers being attacked, more shipping containers being attacked. Pay attention to this because I promise, guys, the media will talk about this when it gets to October 1st. But I like to give you guys information early so that you out there have an edge. Yes, I'm saying it. Look into the situation. Am I guaranteeing profits? By no means, but I am guaranteeing something to pay attention to. So take a look into the shipping situation and how could you play this, right? Because it's not just necessarily knowing what's going to happen here. It's what's going to be able to be played upon. So we can look at short positions here. We can consider shorting retail and automotive stocks that are highly reliant on what? On imports, right? We can take a look at retail names like clothing companies, because if they're going to get inflation on their products, well, they're going to have to raise prices. And in a time where the consumer is strapped, can't raise prices right now, right? Now, long positions could be established in shipping stocks or logistics firms that could, of course, rise from the rising freight rates, and alternative transport demand could see a nice lift. Now, another area is to look at defensive sectors as you look at utilities and consumer staples that are less impacted by supply chain disruptions. And what has everyone been on alert? Investors out there, they're on alert right now for inflation. This could clearly start to disrupt supply chains, which could bring back some of that inflation. Something definitely to keep an eye out for. I always try to give you guys information, and this came from a Reuters article that isn't focused right now. So if you want to take a look at it, go over to Reuters, go catch that article, take a look into the shipping situation and how this labor dispute could spill over and actually cause some of these shipping stocks to get the lift. So if I see a packaging and container company here, Octo, getting the lift, I might not want to run and short it, right? Because of this situation, right? It could be traders trying to get ahead of things. NBC writes about it too. Okay, well, take a look into it, right? Workers strike at Vancouver's terminal. Hey, definitely take a look into the action, guys. I always like to give you guys information when I see something that could grow into a bigger problem, and this is clearly one of those. Boeing was one of them with their labor dispute, and now this labor dispute could spill into some inflation. We'll see. Grains might go up, right? Things like that. Keep an eye out on it, guys. It's a trade that's definitely able to be traded. And those are the best trades because you can actually get ahead of them and you can try to set the bet to see what happens. All right, let's keep going. Let's get back to the market. We can talk about some other action. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of gold this morning that I found. And the only way you find this is looking through the media and looking for articles and looking for small snippets that could expand into bigger problems. Think about it. Will the media be talking about this when it becomes an issue? Yes. They're just not talking about it right now because it's not in the focus for investors at this point. All right, we'll see what happens there in Octo, but what can we look into the shipping area to maybe take advantage of this, right? That's what I would be looking into. So let's go take a look to see what's going on in integrated shipping and logistics. So that's the area that you're looking at. You're looking to see if this can get a nice little boost. Of course, you go to the high cap names. You start with that first, right? You start taking a look at that and you start seeing if these stocks could get a nice little lift, right? So you can also take a look at shipping and ports, right? And so I take a look at some of those names also to see how that's been moving. And you can see here, that's what's been getting the lift as of late, especially early in 24, and now starting to make another move. So keep your eyes on these names. They are pushing and strong. MATX. You have no one talking about this company, Matson, but it keeps going up and going higher, right? Loading up and looking like it wants to make the move. Zim, integrated shipping. We've talked about this stock plenty of times. My man Wisdom is going to be super excited to hear this. As you can see, this is starting to break out of this trend, which is a nice inverse head and shoulders, now starting to break through this trend line and looking like it wants to go on a breakout. Another thing that I'd watch for is look how the volume came in on this 22 day, this Friday, and now you're starting to get through that. That to me was a big buyer that got stuffed a little bit, but now that it's going through that level, could start seeing that rise, start to push through those highs and using that as support. So I'd watch for pullbacks to 2260s or 22 and looking for the lift back there towards the next level. We could be making a run to 40s on these names. So I'd be keeping a watch on these. Zim, of course, is that one. Looks like you're looking at a 2380 resistance. We'll see if it can get through that level and start making a move. GOGL is another one that kind of keep an eye out. Golden Ocean Group. There's a couple of these that I'd keep an eye out for, guys. What you want to be looking for also is that they trade with some serious volume, and this trades at least, you're getting at least some daily volume, right? Look at the gap up though. So be careful with this one that's already gapped up, right? There's a reason why it's gapped up. So I'd be looking for pullbacks to maybe try to catch these, but keep your eyes on it because a lot of these could get going, right? I still look at SBOK. SBOK is one that I like. SBLK, this one could really get moving. You can see how it's already gapped up. Look for a little bit of pullbacks, but definitely this is an area that is showing some signs. And October 1st is right around the corner, guys. We're talking next week. So right now is the idea to pay attention to these and see what happens. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me on that action. I just wanted to give you guys that insight. I always like to bring you guys a little bit something extra, and that is definitely something that not many people are looking for. Microsoft looking for a pop today. We'll see what happens on Microsoft. Can Softy get going? Will it push to the next level? And of course, keep your eyes on that Meta. When's the event actually start with Meta? Is it after the bell here? Let's take a look here. All right, guys, it's a 2-day event. I'm looking for it now. I'm trying to see when does it start here. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Two-day event. I'm looking, guys. I'm trying to see more and more when the videos will be starting. I know that they're already talking about things here. I'm not seeing a time. Give me the time, guys. All right, well, I'll have to look a little bit further into giving you guys an exact time, but you guys can see it here, the Meta Connect event, guys. Take a look into it. Maybe you guys can find out a little bit more. Maybe go into the facts answer questions. Is there a cost? What is it? Connect today? Yeah. Select sessions will be available on demand after the event concludes, but no timing. Give me the time, guys. Meta, pay attention, guys. It's coming soon, guys. You don't want to miss that event today. Starts at 1. Thanks, Day Trade with Tony. Appreciate you guys. There you go. My team's on it. You guys are on it. Let's go. Keep your eyes on that, right? So towards 1 o'clock will be something definitely to watch. Big volume day, of course, with that options expiration. We'll see if we get back above that. Definitely am keeping a very close eye on that action. What is GDDY, GoDaddy, going up here? Man, this stock has been an absolute beast for the year. Still holding on, too. We'll see when it actually starts coming down, but an absolute beast for sure. All right, looking around out there, seeing what we can trade out there. It's a buy. Oh, man, we'll see what happens out there. Looking around out there, guys, seeing what's moving. We'll see if maybe MSOS can start making the move, right? It's definitely something to look at. Oh, looks like my man Phil Rosen liked my response. If you guys don't know Phil Rosen, really cool guy to follow on Twitter, so check him out, guys. Looks like he liked my idea that the trade might flip where the U.S. goes into a struggle and then China starts to rise. I know you guys might not like that information, but hey, it's what I caught out there, guys. Like always, catch me on Twitter at MoneyMitch_TTP. Always doing some really cool replies to people and trying to talk about what I see in the market. All right, let's keep going, guys. A lot of action in the market today. So ready to get to the actual open. See what I can do with the limited account. Of course, you guys know the limited account. We've been talking about it here, and I'm in the green with the limited account. I'm 10% done with it? I would say 11% done with it. You know, I'm looking to get to that 1350. Of course, I still got some time, so I don't need to rush to get to that 1350, but made a really great trade yesterday, was able to bounce back, get rid of the loss on Monday, which was a 60 loss. So now we're up $100, a little bit up over $100 on the profits. Now really ready to just keep pushing, try to get to that 1350. And the big thing there, just keeping the reward and risk in play, right? We made about 180, which was a perfect 3-to-1 trade on yesterday. So I'm going to look to continue having that move and continue focusing on the profit to loss ratio where I can still get a 3-to-1 outlook. That's what I'll be looking for, risking about $60 on those trades, making 180 and just stacking them up. Because if I can do that, I'll stay in the green and stay with the process that will get me to what? To success, of course. And that's what we're all looking for. Uber on my radar. Good news. All right, let's take a look there at Uber. All right. Uber, looking to see what happens there. 77.60. We'll look to see what happens there. It's at 77.65. Can they make the next move? It's slowly stair-stepping. I think you keep an eye out on this. Another thing to watch for is how this will react on Robotaxi Day, right, with Tesla. And that's going to be on October 10th. But right now, Uber staying strong and could come and take out those highs. Could be making a move towards 83. We'll see what happens there. Doesn't look bad at all, right? Nice little move. Came back and held it on Monday. Monday was a good hold. Now I'd look for any pullback to hold this break and this body. You can go to the high, but I like going to the body because the body is more important to me. So 75.34 on pullbacks. As long as they can hold 75s right now, I think you're still looking good in Uber and looking strong. All right, we'll see what happens there. TNON finally getting the move, guys. It's moving right now. We'll see if it gets the lift through 5. I saw it really quickly spike there. I'm sorry that I wasn't fast enough there, but we'll see if it gets the move there. 460s just woke up, 39,000 shares. Can it get through 5? 5 is going to be the important level right now. You can see it on the 15-minute. Could approach this trend line. There's no reason why it can't go right back up here towards, let's say, 522s. So that's what I see right here. I'd like a pullback towards 480s. If I wanted to play it, I'd play it off the 480s for the 470 move here. Looks like I'll get an opportunity in just a second here off the 480s. Should we go for it for 100 shares or something like that? Doesn't look too bad here. Let's try the other account here. See if we can, my main account here, seeing if I can maybe grab this at the 480s. The key is the spread's a little wider here. So looking to see if I can get the move back there and see some buyers actually lining up here. I see some sellers lining up, of course, at 5. I see buyers at like 472. There's not too much underneath support here, so it could come right quickly back to 472. Looking to see if it gets a 475 move, but last time this stock just didn't pull back, and it just kept lifting, hitting the offer. Right now, what do I see? I see 80s just got hit there. So that was on the bid side. I saw 85s. That was on the offer. So you see it right now. The 89's available. What's going to happen here? Will we get the push through? So you can see that the 80s right there is something that maybe think about, and then could get the push into 5. The volume is still relatively low. It's only 60,000 shares that have traded there. So it's not like an insane amount of volume, right? So we'll see what happens with this TNON. Can they get the move into 5? All right, now we're getting a little bit more of some buyers lined up. 82s, 81, and 80. So maybe a quick dip into the 79, and then it comes right back up. So that's what I'll be looking for now. Does it come back to the 79 and then makes a quick move to the upside? All right, guys, looking at the scanners out there to see what's moving right now. I see a smaller name, CERO and FRGT, Freight Technologies, getting a little bit of a lift. FRGT, one to kind of keep an eye out for. There's the 490s available there on TNON. It didn't make the move there, so just keeping a close eye on it. FRGT, Freight, the software name, Freight Technologies. Ooh, just did a split. We know how these like to move. This just did a 1 to 25 split. Came from a penny stock, guys. Now lifting there to the 275. Looks interesting as it's really trying to push. The only question is, will it be able to hold? It did do a split, so you got to be careful with that action. But you're getting the volume to come in for it and trying to take it towards 3. We'll see if it makes that move and starts to push here. I'll tell you what, it's just too close to the bell to maybe look at this one, but I'll be watching this one out the bell to see if it keeps moving. All right, taking a look out there, guys. What's up? What's up? I took a limited edition for a new strategy. Love it. Love it. I think that's important too, right? It's okay to try some of these evalves with a different strategy. Just stick to that one strategy. See if you stuck to that one strategy, what would happen, right? And that's one thing that I was thinking about, right? Because I was doing so great in the VIXY, which cost me yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about that. But definitely, it's something to think about. And I think it's important to try that, right? Find a strategy that's working. Find one of these evalves and just trade that strategy to see what happens. Because you could find yourself a funded trader just coming up, right? When's the limited edition expire? I might know, might not know. I ain't telling you. Gotta get it. Gotta get it now before it goes. God. Nah, I'm just playing. I honestly don't know the date. But I do know that it is very limited. And that's what I'll say. Very limited. Not just limited. There's only a limited amount of accounts, let's just say, that we're willing to accept, right? Because the truth is that we just made it easier for you. If it's easier, I don't think we'll keep it forever. Let's just say that much, right? So take a look into it, guys. I want you guys to definitely at least look into it and see if this is up your alley. The number one thing that I like is the 70-30 split from the 50-50. Because the truth is, we're all trying to get funded, but we're not just trying to get funded. We're trying to get paid, right? I think you're trying to get paid. I think I'm trying to get paid. We all trying to get paid, right? So the truth is that the split is also a big focus. There's a reason why I go for the extra buying power. Is because of the split, right? The split gets better as you went higher in the packages, and at a 70-30, this makes complete sense for me. So if it makes complete sense for you, go for it, team. Take a look into it. All right, we'll take a look at what else is moving there. TNON right back at that spot there, right? So I have the opportunity there to grab the 480s. It's right before the bell, so I'm going to stick off of this one, but it had the opportunity there at the 480s. We'll look to see if we get a pullback. TNON could pull back to the 442s, 440s again, and then make the move. So I'll keep keeping a watch right out the gates on this one. Nothing that I'm feeling like jumping right now. All right, guys, we got to get ready for the trading bell. The trading bell is going to be here before you know it, guys. 9:27. Looks like Southwest Airlines to cut service and staffing in Atlanta to slash costs. Do you really need to cut service and staffing? You already have garbage service and staffing. Love with some cutting out there, guys. We'll see how the stock reacts right before the bell here. But I thought that was just funny news there, guys. This is coming from CNBC. That they're going to slash and Elliott to call a special Southwest special meeting as soon as next week, as of course Elliott Group has board members now and going to be trying to change things up at Southwest Airlines. I talked about looking at the airlines just yesterday. Will this get it started today? Keep an eye out on these guys. There's no reason why not, right? I'll be watching to see what happens in American Airlines right out the gates. Looking to see if this starts to push. I look at the hourly levels and I'd say, okay, get back through 11:15. I'll pay attention to you, American Airlines. And for love, since this is the one that just gave the news, I'll be watching for a push. You got to really show me a push. Get me back into the 30s, and then I'll pay attention to you, love. Love, of course, has a daily. You can see here we gapped down. We were up there to 35. Have gone sideways off this. It really needs to kind of reclaim 31, not 30, but 30 is just the start. And then you can go back to yesterday's high, 30.45. So that's really the level that you really want to see get going. But can it make a move into the 30s? It's available for it. We'll see what happens. UAL and DAL have been strong. Those are your leaders right now on the action, at least. So we'll look to see how those perform. All right, guys, it's 9:29. I'll keep a watch also on a little bit of some clean spark to see if this spikes into the 10 today. I still got cannabis stocks. I still got MSOS on the swing trade, looking for this to go towards the trend line, which is a move to 772. I still will add on this if it can come back here towards like below 7, 690s, 680s, $7. I'll add. Right now, I'm on the sideline. Still have this on the swing account. We'll look to see if it keeps going. CGC did have news this morning that caused it to come down some. So this could affect it negatively right out the open. And look at CGC on the downside right out the open. So that's probably going to pull back MSOS. So I'll be looking for some pullbacks back down, and got to be careful here that it doesn't just become a wipeout move. All right, guys, that's that move. I'll be watching Picard to see if it gets back above 100. That's something definitely to keep an eye out for. Now, let's go over. Let's start trading. Let's get into the limited account here and see what we can come up with. If I wanted to, I really could bet CGC to the downside. That's not a bad one to bet to the downside today, but I'll leave it alone. You're seeing what right out the gates? LI, like I talked about, could it fill the gap? Yeah, it definitely could fill that gap back down to 22s. So these actually don't look too bad for short opportunities, at least in the short term. We'll see what happens with China names. Can they stay strong today? Baba making the first move to the upside. PDD, first move to the upside. So can these kind of hold on? We'll find out. Yin making the first move to the upside. Yang on the downside move, of course. Let's go to the overall market here. SPY with a big little push right out the gates here. Q's pushing strong here towards the 485. I talked about how upside potential looks like it makes sense right now. Until we break 482s on the Q's, upside is what looks good. PayPal to the moon, that tells me Square. Forget PayPal, I'll look at Square. I've talked about how Square could be the one that gets going, and it could get going today. PayPal's already hot. I'll be looking for pullbacks to go ahead and try to catch Square. I see PayPal moving strong. I want Square. Let me get this on a pullback, and I'll take a shot here. I'm actually going to pull the main account here, as this one's a little bit spready right now, but I do want to get after Square. VWAP is down at 67.53. Look at the spread, though, here. There's not always this spread in Square, so I'm looking at it right now, and it's interesting. Look at the downside hit in that. That's big order going through there, guys. That was a big order going through there. So I'm staying on the sideline right now. That was a little scary, guys, because that looked great. And look at the spread move on that. Saw XLF take a big hit there, guys. Morgan Stanley definitely on my radar today. Still, guys, still on the radar. I'm just watching to see what happens in XLF. It went straight down to the 45 there. We'll see what happens if it breaks the 45. Square, could this come back? It could come back. I mean, that could have been a big buyer stepping up there. PayPal, it's up there to 79.10. Toast. We'll see if that one makes a move. PayPal is getting a nice little push. See what happens there. Nice little push there to 79. Could pull back to the 78.50s. I'm looking for some kind of pullback there. Apple down out the gates, guys. 224s just made an up move, then right back down. VIXY's at 1188. I'm not paying attention to VIXY until it gets to 12. Yesterday, got caught on the VIXY, took a big hit, about $400 in the main account. It was like 4 something. So got to keep battling. Square now reversing back to the upside here. And the spread is what's killing me in Square. I want to get after this, but the spread's 20-something cents, guys. I have no idea why the spread is that wide on Square right now. Maybe it tightens up here. The daily still looks good. Maybe I can do a swing trade off like 66. That is available to me. The only problem here is, like I mentioned, the spread is too wide for me to go in for the day trade. Spread's trying to tighten up, but not much. And the spread's way too wide here on Trade the Pool. I'm not taking this one, guys. I'm going to leave it alone. It looks so great. The problem is the spread. I hate going after wide spreads. Does this setup look great? Yeah, but I'm going to have to leave it alone, guys. We'll see what happens there in Square. Love with a good little takeoff there right out the gates there. We'll see what happens on AAL. Keeping a watch on this. This could make a nice move back towards the upside, towards like 1140s. 1115 staying strong right now. American Airlines, I'm going to look for a little bit of a pullback here. Might take a shot in American, right? And the fun part about taking the shot in American is that I could go bigger in sizing. So we'll keep in a watch. There's my alert on love for the 30 move. So American Airlines could get a nice little lift here at the start. Looking for a little pullback towards 1110s here. Let's see if we can get a small little pullback to 1110 and then get this to lift towards the 1120s. Looking for a little small pullback here to get filled on American. And could look at UAL as we're starting to get a nice little up move. Look at that UAL. Nice little move out the gates there. Definitely trying to get this AAL. Just looking for some pullback here, guys. And going to take a pretty decent sizing here in just a second. Look at this big sizing at 1120s. 60,000 shares there, and then 60,000 at 1125s. Definitely some big sellers starting to align themselves, looking for the out at the 1120s. So you see the 6,000 right here, 6,070, 743. I'm looking for that little pullback here towards that 1108, and then I can go ahead and get after it here. There's 1113s, 1112s. Can it get towards that 10s or 8s? Then I can take the shot here in American. So you see that 1108 right now, 1110s lining up here. 1110s hit for just a second there, and it went right back up there, guys. So might not be able to get that 1110 entry. I'm putting out 500 there, but I might have to just step up to the plate here at the 13s. Q's moving fast. XLF to the downside, MOS to the downside also. Nvidia is pushing there, 123 almost now. That's going to continue rising up towards the Qs. Could look at stock sell on that. Could even short the VIXY on this action as it's coming down towards the 1184s. Could go to the 1150s today, the way the action is on the SPY. I'll be looking at that for my smaller account, the limited account. All right, guys, just took a starter there on American. It took already there 500 shares. Looking for this to kind of rise back towards the 1120s, 1122s above that. Now look for a little bit of a pullback towards the 1108 for the remaining ad there. I'll put it at 1107. So if I get a little bit of a pullback here, get another fill at 1107, I'm happy with that. Looking for the upside potential move back through the trend line. Want to see these airlines start to make a nice little push towards the upside. Love is one to kind of keep an eye out to watch that continue to rise. UAL right out the gates, now pulling back to the VWAP. So this is also an opportunity. If I wanted to go ahead and try to play this, could play it back there at like the 54.25s. DAL now coming back down. So keeping a very close eye on the action. Want to see if Love can make that next move to the upside here, back through the 30s. We'll keep watch to see what happens there. Nvidia, big push there, guys. Now towards 123.15s. TSM also with the stock, right? So TSM and Nvidia, very similar action. If anything, I think TSM looks better. AMD also strong action out the gates, guys. So keep watch on that. That's looking really strong right now. All right, if I look at what's leading, of course, technology, utilities, and real estate. Defensive's in the red and financials in the red, and so is cyclicals. So just be careful out there. Basic materials pulling back, energy pulling back, and industrials on a little bit of a pullback. Apple, strong move right back to the upside. So if you're looking at one that's strong, Apple, nice little reversal right back up. Held at 225 and now starting to push. Of course, this is a pullback layer on the 9 EMA, so could be a nice little move right back up towards the 228s now as Apple got a nice little buy the dip moment there on the 15-minute pattern. 225 needs to hold moving forward, but looks pretty decent there on Apple. Now we're getting pullbacks in the SPY and, of course, the Qs. We'll see what happens here. Let's go, team. You guys know where you're at. What's up? How we doing? Wisdom. The shipping stocks might move, my friend. I know he'll be excited about to hear that. Good to see you, man. Always hold the line, man. Yield wall when wisdom's gone, man. That's what it's all about, guys. We'll see what happens here. Taking a little shot here in American Airlines. We'll see how this turns out, but definitely not a bad little starting action in the market. First side upside action. Looking to see if Apple wants to make that next push up. Right now, getting a little bit of a pullback opportunity to fill here in American Airlines. I'll size in here. Be closer towards like, what are we going to be at? 1107. Got about what? 5 cents, 6 cents. So 3 cents down. We'll be at 1110. With about 100 shares if I get filled at that 1107. If it starts to approach here and just starts getting some volume, I might just take the shot here for the kind of the breakout towards the 1120s. And 1150s is where I think this could eventually get to today. It could just start to push back here, get towards like 1140s, and then really start to push towards that 1150s. We'll see if we start to make our way towards the next resistance. That's like 1128 and then 1138. But the key here is I can go sizing up and looking for kind of more of a scalp on this trade. It's just a bigger size with smaller kind of movement. And these are the trades that have been doing me well with the bigger size, right? Where I can at least manage the risk on the downside action. Another thing to point to, airlines looking good here. Look at the airline kind of index. Index looking good here on the pullback. Could actually go after DAL, LUV, right? All these names are looking interesting. UAL on the pullback right now looks interesting for me, right? And so you got potential there for that to come right back up there. We'll see what happens. There's a little bit of a downside attempt here on UAL. Let's see if it holds the support. Support would be right here off this kind of close. So that 54.08. Let's see if it holds that and then starts making its way back to the upside. That's a nice little hold there towards the 54.12s. We'll see if this starts going back to a green candle there. American Airlines kind of just propping right here. Waiting for the next move here. Let's see if it starts to get that push. All right, just trying to make this fake out towards the 11.13s. I don't want to overreact here. I think it could pull back just one more time to that 11.10 and then take off. So I'm giving it the chance here to just do a wick. If it starts to close up above the 11.13s, I can always add. But for right now, just trying to stay patient. All right, looking around to see some other names out there to see what moves today. And the smaller ones, FRGT, starting to line up here for a move towards 3. Doesn't look too bad on this one. Of course, this one had a split, so it's how you want to take a look at that. We'll see what happens. TNON tried to make the move to a 5 and then pulled back. This one could be a fade either way. I don't see too much on this right now. Octo's continuing, 430s. We'll look to see if it keeps going back to the next level. VIXY now taking a spike as the Qs come right back down, right? So there you have it, guys. A chop is starting to begin. So it's all how you want to position yourself now. Will we get this quick downside action to just kind of come in for a takedown? It could always come, guys. And I think that that's one thing that we need to be on alert for. But like I mentioned, as long as I don't see a cut down back towards like 482s, we're still looking fine today. We're starting to get that downside, though, definitely in the Qs. We'll see if we start to really leak. Nvidia pulling back, catching the VWAP. We'll look to see if it holds that VWAP or does it make a move back down to the 122. All right, going to look for that upside reaction to catch a little bit of a dip and then come right back up. Let's see what happens here. All right, just got that last little dip there at American. So at this second, I'm just looking to see if I get the dip fill, which is towards like 1108 or 1107. But if I don't get that dip fill, I'll just look to add as it comes back through my entry. There's a little dip there towards 1108 and didn't get the fill, of course, because it was right off of that. So right now, I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that and about to add it on the market side. So just watching the action, looking to see if we can get a turnaround back to the upside now. And the Qs are starting to come back. Now let's see if we can get a little bit of upside potential move here. So it's 11:11 right now. In a second, I'm going to go ahead and start taking that approach as it starts to get back to the VWAP. All right, guys, now I'm starting to see that approach. I'm going to go for my swing here in American. All right, didn't click it in there. Just going to take a peek at UAL to see if I got a green candle there. I did for a slight second. So looking to see if we can start to get back above that 54.40s here. XLF still weak. That's one thing I'll definitely point to, but I'm looking for this American Airlines trade here. All right, starting to see some buys start to come in here. It's a nice little setup here, so I'm going to go for it. I'm just looking for the Qs or the SPY to make an attempt move to the upside here. And wouldn't you know what's leading the market here? Nvidia, guys. So I'm taking the shot here, guys. So I just added now up towards I'm going to do 2,000 shares here. 2,000 shares, 11/12s, looking for that nice like 10-cent trade here. If it goes a little bit higher on the pop, well, then we'll keep riding it. But it looks like I could get a nice little like kind of 10, 12-cent pop off of this if I measure just the flag. So 12-cent pop, maybe the 25s into play here. Let's see if we can get it up there. 2,000 shares there, American Airlines. Can the Qs break into the 486? I'll be watching that and looking to see if the airlines can start to catch that bounce and start to get back to the upside here. This is the index and also a reason why I'm willing to take the shot. Let's see what happens here now as Americans. Right at a little bit above my entry here. All right, traders, what's going on? How we doing out there? It's good to see you guys. Damn hard to trade with hard target and stops in this market. So choppy, 100%. I think if you're putting out stops in this market, you're just trying to get hunted. That's why you have to do it manually sometimes. That's what I've been working on. It's very difficult, but you just got to stay on it. Here's American Airlines starting to make the move, guys. I'm seeing that first move already. So I'm setting up like 1,000 shares on pullback to add here. And then I got to hold break even. But as I start to get back towards like 17s, but doesn't look too bad there as we start the first action here. Could get pullbacks like 11.11. So just putting out a little bit of an ad there to try to support it here and get this to start to push. I'm seeing Nvidia lead, and that's another sign. That's a good sign as we start to get this lift. SPY now coming down, so you got to be a little bit careful with that, but looking good here as I get up there towards the 116, 11/16. Another way to play this is there is something called the JETS ETF, right? So you guys can take a look at that, guys. This is just another way to play this. The only bad thing is that the JETS ETF has Boeing, but we'll see what happens there. Now towards 11/16s, looking good there as we start to push in American Airlines. I'm going to cancel my ad at that 11.11, right? Because there's really no point at this point. It should kind of get that push through the high and then start to keep going towards the next high here. So look at the 15-minute hourly charts and start to watch for a move towards resistance. 11.19, big level to watch to see if we can clear, and then we can start going into the 20s. Once we go into the 20s, I can even just sell out on that move. We'll see what happens here. Can it hold VWAP on pullbacks? That's 11.12, right where I'm in. So feeling confident about that. There's a nice move in the Qs to the upside. That's going to help the stocks move. We'll see if the Qs can continue. Nvidia tried to make that breakout right there. SPY is still a little weak here. So if there's anything that's weak, it's SPY. And why is it weak? Because the cyclicals and the financials are still weak there. They're still in the red. And so is basic materials. So those names are actually hurting them right now. We'll see what happens in the airlines if we start to get the push there. Qs are trying to make a push, and that's a big part of Nvidia's action to the upside. So TSM, I expect it pushing strong also. AMD looking decent on the VWAP here. Let's see if it makes a run. Looking to see if the SPY starts taking off here, and then I could actually probably go looking for a VIXY short today, but we'll leave that alone for the time being right now. I'm looking to see what happens. SOXL, nice little takeoff there off the VWAP. 35 was a good play there. Nice move back down, right back to the upside. So I'm feeling good about this American Airlines. If anything, I could add to it, but I'm just going to let it ride on the first position here. 2,000 shares, looking for the next push here to start to climb. Quick downside coming in, guys. Be careful out there. Quick downside came in there. It was was in the SPY, so that's why I'm being a little bit careful here. It's coming back on me right now. Q's coming down fast. So is the SPY. We made an up attempt there. Now we're starting to sweep back. So just got to be careful here. Not getting that pop that we're looking for. We got a decent volume as it started to go back up, but nothing that really kind of just took off there. So traders didn't just jump on this. Apple going to the upside makes me a little bit more confident. 226 in play there. Now 226.27 is making a new high on Apple. Trying to see if we can get right back up towards that 11.17s. Market is teetering right now. There's the SPY starting to rise, trying to make the push up. Apple kind of leading. Nice little push there in Apple. 226.40s now. See, the SPY can reclaim 571.40s, and then it looked like it could get towards like 571.60s quickly. All right, still looking good there in the Qs. So still hanging on right now on American. There's a down attempt there in the VIXY. So that's actually a good sign there for the Qs to push here. 486.10, SPY trying to push here. Trying to reclaim that 471.40s here. Let's see what happens. All right, guys, let's keep going. Let's see what else is trading out there. I see TNON at 506. So that looks like it did a good move there. So I talked about TNON. 5 would be an important level. It's at 513. So that's actually done pretty well. There's the SPY making an up move here. And also I'm seeing there the Qs attempt towards the highs. So let's see if American wants to just start pushing towards the upside here. UAL would like to see that start to push there. It's actually pulling back on this. How's the love machine? Love is kind of holding in right now. Let's see if it takes the 30.25s. Q's pushed. SPY trying to hold that 571.40. What's gone down is XLF. So Morgan Stanley still an opportunity for me. I'm keeping a very close eye on this, guys, as the XLF starts to break. See the 44.90s definitely getting hit there. Let's see what's dragging the market. Visa down another leg. Starting to see a lot of these regional banks come down. So that's where you got to really start to take a look at that. The KRE is one way to kind of go after that on the short side of things. KRE, good topping action on the KRE. All right, Morgan Stanley. I'm starting to look at that for a short, guys. At this point, I'm going to go protect AAL. Quick drop there in AAL, guys. I'm looking at Morgan Stanley. Qs are going up, but financials are in the red. Just took a hit there on American, down about 105 there as it pulls back and just didn't want to make the move there. I'm seeing the VIXY start to cut down here, but I'm seeing the SPY try to hold on here. Now it's starting to make a little bit of an attempt to the 571. Definitely the Qs are where it's at right now, and it's definitely leading up with Apple. As you see, Apple 226.61, 225 recovery was a good level there. Nvidia now pushing towards 123.80s, but XLF still coming down here, guys. So Morgan Stanley, I'm going for it here. Let's see what we can get. Did this last time with a decent size, and it was a tough trade, guys. So I have to go smaller. See if this just breaks down. There's 3 supports right here where it could just crack. So I'm going to go for it here. See if it just cracks. Just shorted there 300 shares. This was on the playbook. So been waiting to see this crack back down through the 102 because I think it could be a real flush down through that 102. We'll see what happens. Goldman Sachs is another one that I could look at for a longer term short, maybe a swing short. All right, going back and now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a bigger trade here for Morgan Stanley and then get after it. If it comes back here to a 102.70s, that's where I got to be careful. The VWAP I can add around the 102.60s, but I don't want to go too crazy too fast. So just keeping it to a smaller size right now. Risking 200 right now, looking for the big crack back down through the 102s, going back towards the 100 for right now at least. That's about $600 on the plus side of things. All right, guys, trying to switch over now. I'm going to get off of this one and go over to the limited account. So now I'm in the limited account. I'm going to go looking to see what I can get after. SPY is trying to make an up attempt here. Let's see if anything starts to get going in the green that was red, and then we can kind of keep an eye out for that. Technology still leading to the upside, and that should help some upside moves. So we'll see what happens there. Definitely defensives down, and looking at XLI, it's trying to make a recovery move here. Let's see what happens in Picard today as it's pulled back a significant amount, guys. So Picard pulling back there, Cat pulling back, Deer. But look at the Qs go, guys. The Qs now 486.72s. That's going to affect the VIXY on the downside of things here. As long as the market can continue to rise and the way that it's going, I think it does get that continued rise here. So I'm going to go for a scalp on the downside with the VIXY, guys. So I'm trying to short the VIXY here. Let's see if I can get it. All right, guys, just shorted there, the VIXY here, and this is the smaller account, so I got to be careful here, but taking a shot, guys. I just added to it also. I have 79. Ooh, did I get that ad? I didn't get that ad. I might have clicked off there. Looking to see if I can get 80s or 81 on the pullback here. I'm going to put out here just about, what can we put here? So it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, should he come back to that VWAP? Could come back to this though. Let's say like maybe 82s. $11.82s. I'm trying to short on that and add to it. This is in the small account, guys. This is in the limited account. So taking the shot here, guys. Of course, I only got to hold for 30 seconds. So looking to see if the SPY can make a quick move and break out to the upside. The Qs broke, man. The Qs went for it, so I went for it. Qs were pushing strong there. I was looking for the SPY to now play catch up and go towards that 572. You could also play this for the upside move, right? With SPXL, right? Maybe you're looking for a move towards 162.50s on that break. SMH is another one that's going to be moving fast with this, as Nvidia is just kind of leading the upside action here. Intel's strong too, so that's one thing to look at. LRCX, definitely strong names. AMAT, of course. Who reports tonight? Micron getting a nice little lift there. All right, guys, so just put out that 82 for the ad there on the VIXY, looking to see if I can get that ad. Now, of course, the SPY makes a down move here, so just got to be careful. The real thing is the financials are still leaking there. That's causing the SPY not to really make that real hard kind of move there. VIXY looks like it's going to come right back down and at least give that opportunity. If I wanted to, I could add there, but no ad just yet. All right, starts to break towards the 77 here, so let's see what happens. I think this could get to the 50s. So right now, $200 is a big gain there. So don't want to overreact right here. Just going to keep the 1,000 shares and just try to ride it down here. There we go. Some sizing coming in there. That's what I want to see. Some 76s, some 75s. So starting to move down. I'm at 79. So could start to take a look to see if it goes to support. It's been at 70 multiple times and could crack into the 60s, where it's been even down as much as 1160s. So looking to see if it can go to 1160s on this move. It actually looks already great here for an ad, as I see the SPY go towards the high. I'm going to take a shot here today, guys. This could make and hurt my account. I just got to be smart and stay break even as it starts to break down. Just looking to see if I don't see any wipeout on XLF. Yeah, Morgan Stanley's coming back, so that's going to help. I'm just looking to see if the SPY can break through the high right now. The SPY breaks through the high, and you got two indexes breaking to the high. A stock like Apple and Nvidia pushing strong, seeming like a really strong day right out the gates here. They would have to really kind of wipe things out to change that feeling. So if you're betting on that, hey, that is the bet. But right now I'm seeing some strong market action. Looking to see if they take the 571.80s here on the SPY. I want to add on the account there for the smaller one, the limited one, but I'm staying on the sideline on the ads because it starts to become too big size for that account, right? Like the number one thing too is that account shouldn't be that big of sizing. Smaller, I got to be smart. Got to let this start to really break, and then I can look for it. Q's slowing down a little bit there. There's the VIXY trying to break through the 1175. Let's go to the 1170s and then just make me feel real confident to go for it. SPY could break through the high. We'll be looking really good here. Volume on the VIXY can't be right on market depth. Why not? It is right. The way that the VIXY works, though, we got to remember the way it works, man. All right, what's going on out there, guys? FRGT did not come up on my screen. Second target hit. Yeah. It's hard sometimes with those screeners. I have a different screener that caught that one. I have one on Benzinga Pro that caught that one. So it's not always going to be the same scanners, right? So sometimes you'll catch them on a different one. How's DJT moving today? Up about 3.5% in the recent action. It's at 14.21. So it's making a decent move today, believe it or not. DJT, look at that, guys. I'm not trading this crap, but you guys can have fun with it. It looks good. VIXY now starting to make that down move. Looks good there as the SPY, makes an attempt towards the upside. If it breaks that high there and starts to go to 572, we're feeling good about this VIXY short. So we're down to the 75s now. I'm up about 4 pennies in this, but it's not much, right? I need about 10 pennies. So let's see if we can get it there. Q's making that upside attempt here. SPY looking like it wants to break through it. American Airlines could come right back up, right? So we'll see what happens on that one. I got out of it, but might have been just too big, too fast, that kind of thing. TNON still holding in. Went back to 5, guys. Caught the bid. Now right back up to the 538s. Looks like it wants the next level. CIFR, another one that I'd keep an eye out. Mining stock just pushed really strong to the upside there. I was keeping an eye on CleanSpark today for a 10 break. I haven't gotten that alert, but it's close to 10. And I was watching it. I talked about it right before the bell there, how CleanSpark was on the radar for at least in the move to show up on the scanners. CleanSpark making a good move there. Coin, another one to watch for here, right on the VWAP. So I'm thinking that at some point, these are going to start getting a move together if the Qs continue strong. So even Mara looking like it wants to push there. Qs are strong today, guys. Can it keep going? That's what I'm really focused on because it's really close to doing a breakout on the SPY, which will help continue these higher. So let's see it here. 571.77. Can it get into the 572? VIXY looking good on the short side of things. Gonna have to go back to that account there. Morgan Stanley not looking good there as it's coming back on me. So just got to consider if the SPY and the Qs are ripping like they are, do I just cancel that position there in Morgan Stanley? I think you just got to keep it tight because this is going to be one that I can get stopped out 1, 2, 3 times and eventually get the move that I'm looking for. So I'll risk here $99 if I get stopped out. Hey, it's a $100 loss. I'm down 200 and keeping myself in reach of one trade into the green. That's what I always want to do. Keep myself in reach of one trade, getting green. All right, VIXY on the limited account, looking for that nice little $100 bill today. Let's see if we can get it here. Google, stop talking to me. Sorry, guys. Google's trying to tell me the answers. Doesn't know how to trade. Come on, Google. All right, what's going on out there, guys? Had to stop and go, but missed the show. Catch up with you all soon. Hey, have a good one, Wisdom. Take care. All right, looking around in the chat. What's up out there, guys? What are you guys liking? SPY looks like it wants to just continue to rise today, guys, as the Apple now towards 227. I talked about how it can get to 228. It looks like it's in reach here. Got to keep an eye on for pullbacks in Nvidia, but that's the one thing to keep on alert. Other than that, right now, just pushing. 1176 showing up here. Still not breaking towards the 1170s there. Looking for that nice little cut down right now on the VIXY. Come on. Let's cut it here. All right. Looking heavy there. Just going to start taking a look at some other trades too at the same time. SPY starting to pull back here. So just be on alert for quick pullbacks. Energy coming down fast today. We'll look to see if this starts to make a move back to the upside. So the first hour of the day was on the pullback. Now does it catch a lift? That's something to look at. On XOM, that's 115. 115 on the daily makes sense for a nice little pullback. So I'm just looking at that for potential maybe swing trade here off like 114. It's interesting off that 115 is XOM. We'll see if oil really breaks down today, but just keeping a very close eye on it, guys. Octo, how's that one doing now? Starting to come back down through the $4. So there's one that you were looking at as short. I think there was a couple mentions in the chat. Well, you got an opportunity now as it starts to break 4. We'll just come right back down to 350s. You have opportunity there. DJT, will it hold the 14 today or crack right back to the downside? SPY trying to do that climb move here makes me feel like going after more into the VIXY, but could look at the UVIX, right? Try to short the UVIX, but just looking around out there, guys. Not a lot of movement right now. Just seeing the slow down. Looking to see if the SPY starts making a downturn here, because it is starting to kind of look a little heavy. All right, what's leading the upside action? Just technology. So if technology goes red, we got to be careful here, guys. Everything else is red except technology. Technology is what's leading the action right now. This action right here. So I'm just watching to see if the 9 EMA holds here, because we are holding the pullbacks, but we could make quick moves down, right? Like we did yesterday around this time. It was just a reversal to the upside. Will we get reversal to the downside today? Always keeping in mind what? The risk and return and what makes sense here. If I look at intraday action, what's leading out there? You got HPE up 5%, Intel up 4%, ARM 3.4%. That's doing well. Unity in the red today. Zoom in the red. Some growth names in the red. Looking at what's leading out there. Nvidia is up a good amount. Snow is up today. Snowflake I kind of like there. Snowflake is one to watch, guys. This is starting to make a nice little move. I'm looking at the daily chart and I can see the bottoming action. Nice bottoming action off that 110 for the strong reaction that we're seeing right now. So you see how this is starting to break to the upside. This actually looks pretty decent there as snow starts to break towards that 116. It's a little bit high for me right now, but if it can come back to 114 today, I kind of like it. It's starting to get that nice little push. Could look at it for some scalps, but nice little takeoff there in snow. Woo! Let's go, guys. Let's go. Semiconductor is still doing good here. Q is still pushing along. XLF, another down move there, guys. So Morgan Stanley now approaching that down move again here. So got to be careful here as it starts to kind of really head down there. That could cause the action to really kind of start to break here. Morgan Stanley, I'm stepping up to the plate on this one here for the main account as it starts to head down towards that 102s. So boom, just stepped up to the plate there. Now I got a pretty big, decent size here. Got to be careful for kind of a quick move back, but definitely setting up here and going for a swing. SPY, quick move down. Got to go protect here on the smaller account here. All right, guys, just got a 1 cent risk here on the smaller account. So 1 cent risk for it to keep coming down on the VIXY. But if it comes back through and hits 80, I'm out. Like, the SPY is just too scary on me for it to just crack. So I'm giving myself like a penny or two. But other than that, I don't want to risk too much on the first action. So I'll risk 20. I'll put it at 81. The Qs are going higher, and that's helping it, right? So if the Qs can just keep lifting, the VIXY could make that move right back down through like 70s. So I'm setting it up. I got 82 on the stop right now just to make sure that I don't get wiped out. All right, going towards the Morgan Stanley trade because that's a bigger trade already. So got to keep a very close eye on that. Watching it here, guys. Let's see what happens. I'm seeing the VIXY come down towards the 1176, so that's still looking good there for me. We'll keep watching that one. Morgan Stanley in the green here for me, so watching it. Is it going to break through that 102? SPY now starting to come down, so just be careful out there. Choppy chop trading. Wouldn't you know it? Welcome to it. The market. Oh man, Steph, did you leave me? Did you leave me? A lot of people are leaving me today. I can see the numbers, man. It just seems to me like, you know what that means? It's a hard market day. So just be careful out there, traders. Take it easy. A lot of this, right? Like you see me, I'm looking for that expansion move. Where is it going? Are we making the move back? What's going to happen? That's where you got to be watching right now, because you're in this kind of mixed battle where you get these upside moves, but can they hold on? And I think you're getting a really nice move in the Qs today to the upside. So that's staying strong. I've talked about how 482 is the downside danger for the Qs, and you're nowhere near it. The SPY is the one that hasn't really made the push, right? And why is the SPY being controlled is that a lot of the SPY has some room, right, to make the move, right? You could take a look here. What do you see down? You only see technology leading to the upside. Let's see in the recent hour. Now we're starting to get at least communication services to come back, right? And you're getting cyclicals to start coming back. So those are areas to kind of keep a watch to see what's starting to make the move there. I got recreational vehicles, footwear and accessories. So Nike probably having a decent day there. Let's take a look. Nike trying to push there through the 88. There you have it. So keep your eyes on that one. Not a bad looking stock to see if it starts to make the lift. We'll see what happens in these cyclical areas. Energy starting to push a little bit there. I don't feel too confident about that push because it's just a small one. Financials still in the red, still haven't bounced. But you are seeing some of the mining stocks strong today. Cypher getting a little bit of a lift. This APLD getting a little bit of a lift for a smaller name if you're looking for one. That's definitely a nice little push there. But looking around, guys, looking around. VIXY now down towards the 1175. So I still got that trade on in the smaller account. If the SPY can hold on and the Qs can hang on, then yeah, we're fine there. So I'm just riding that one down. It's towards the 1175. Still can't take profits on that. Looking to see what happens here in Morgan Stanley. It's looking like it just wants to break. But like always, you got to be careful when you're trying to call that, right? So. And the real key is that I'm not in at a perfect level here. So I got to be able to cut it fast on Morgan Stanley and get back in if needed. So it needs to make this move towards 102 here. If not, I just get out and look to get back in. I want to see this hard breakdown towards 102. That might come with a sweep in the SPY to the downside, which wouldn't be good for my VIXY position. But the truth is, you just take positions as you see them. And on this case, pretty much both sides of the trade, right? Like, I think that that's what happens too here, is that I'm on both sides. All right, looking heavy here, 102.17s. Can we get the break on Morgan Stanley? Can it just crack through that 102, heading towards the 101? Been taking bigger trades, guys, and I can tell how there's a quick sign, guys. It's a universal one. As you make bigger and bigger trades, what happens? I'll tell you right now. The clammy hands. The clammy hands. Feeling the pressure today. Are you? That's the question I'll throw out there. And I always tell you guys if I feel the pressure. Some days I trade and I don't feel any pressure. Today, I'm feeling the pressure. Maybe it's because it was a red day yesterday. Could be too, right? I mean, that happens. There's that 102 attempt there. 102.09s. Can we finally get the breakdown through that 102 and then not just come back to this 102.30s? I'm looking for a real breakdown through that 102 for it to break. Like, just give me that hard downside action. You see, yesterday we got right around here and we stopped. I was looking for that 102 breakdown yesterday and we stopped right around 101.30. We started to break, and then we stopped. So I'm looking for that to really break down and eventually close red today. Let's see it. SPY coming down also. That's where it gets a little bit difficult for the VIXY style trade, right? So there's a nice break towards the downside action. Can I get pullback now? There's the SPY coming back down. That's where I got to be careful with the VIXY doing a little bit of a takeoff move. SPY coming down here fast. And what did you know it? Morgan Stanley getting a bounce. We'll see what happens. What's interesting also, really kind of top range for Nvidia. It's holding up at the top end of the range, but Here it goes for an upside move through the 125s. Let's see if it goes to that. The Q's still hanging on. Still grinding things higher. Volume came in there on Morgan Stanley right around the 102s. So got to keep holding on that. VIXY just not wanting to break that 1175s tells me something that I really got to just be careful about that one. Q's now pulling back a little bit here, guys. So there's a hard downside attempt in the SPY. 571s came up real quick, guys. So I'm going to go protect myself in a second here. All right, so I'm setting a stop here on Morgan Stanley to go protect myself in the other account, right? So got to always bounce back and forth, right? So at this point, I've already tried to see that 75 break plenty of times. This should have already broken down. I'm in the green, but I can't take the green because it's too small of a green, right? But the SPY could, come right back up. So I'm just keeping the risk towards $10 right now. If it stops me out for $10, so be it. Going back here to Morgan Stanley. Got to go ahead and just watch Morgan Stanley. Got to cut my stop because it could easily get hunted. Watching it right now at the 20s here to see if we come back above towards the 25s. But really, it should be that 102 cut down now. And the SPY made the fake out attempt to the downside. It's right back up. Big wicks on the downside on the SPY today. There's an attempt move in the VIXY to the downside. Now 1173s. So this is going to be a quick sweep. Both sides here. Got to establish risk here. Looking to see if XLF breaks the low. If it starts going green candle on the 5-minute. Got to protect this one. Morgan Stanley. So that's the idea here. You guys see how I'm bouncing back and forth in more protection mode and looking for something to kind of give me that big green. Then I can go ahead and take bigger swings. Morgan Stanley now coming back on me. So now I just got to establish risk. Where's the risk going to be? 571s. Now the SPY is starting to come down a little bit here. So you got a little bit of a mixed battle. I'm going to keep it at a $30 risk, which is pretty tight here, which is towards that 31. I'm just looking for Morgan Stanley to come right back down, but definitely don't want it through that 31. So about 32 is the risk right now overall. I could set it at 33 if I really wanted to. Right back into the 20s, rejected going into the 30s there. So I'm setting the stop and forgetting it right now. And as soon as I do that, look how the market comes back to me. That's the problem about setting stops, guys. Sometimes if you set stops, you're going to get hunted. There's the VIXY going for the move where I can take profits in just a second here. So with that being said, got to establish and focus what? On the reward side of things right now. I'm watching that VIXY. It's trying to put pressure on both sides right now. It needs to get to 69. Remember, I have 79, so I need at least 10 cents. Morgan Stanley just bouncing right now. The XLF still weak. That's why I'm still in this. Look at the bounce there, though. That's going to put some pressure right now into the 30s. There's that pressure into the 30s. XLF makes a sideways candle there. Back into the 26. SPY coming down fast there. Still seeing the weakness, but the one that's pushing strong and going even against the market is Nvidia. Nvidia is just ripping, guys. There's definitely some buy algo on Nvidia right now, and they're loving that Nvidia, man. It's up towards almost 125. Leak comes in here, guys. So definitely looking to see if finally we start to get the leak in Morgan Stanley. There's a quick, hard down action move there, guys. Be careful out there. Seeing the hard down action move in the SPY there. All right, looks like it wants to break that 102 here. Man, we're in that mixed battle right now. I'm watching to see what happens there in the SPY because the VIXY is actually coming down with this pullback. XLF just tried to make a new low and couldn't do it. Morgan Stanley trying to come back. All right, got to establish risk here now. Don't want to see it make a new high. That's how it is a lot of the times with these positions. You're just like kind of in a wait and see mode until you start to get the actual motors going. And the big part of that is trying to just take a look at it and establish the risk to return, right? That's what it's always about. Keeping to that risk and return is what keeps you in the green. All right, guys, we're getting this attempted push back here. So the SPY could just take off here, guys. So I got to go ahead and just establish a risk here. I'm establishing a risk at 33s right now. I'm literally 2 pennies away from getting stopped out in this Morgan Stanley trade. Just trying to stay in it. But at the same time, if the XLF starts to come back up, the VIXY is going to drop here. And that could keep going down. The SPY could make the move right back to the highs. The Qs didn't even come back far enough to even get worried, especially when you're seeing Nvidia's action so strong. So if anything, Apple still looks like a good buy. I know that Meta has a event today, right? How's Meta trading? Trading straight to the upside out the gates, guys. It went straight from 564s to 572s. So definitely a miss by me. If there's one trade that we should have been looking at out the gates, it was to play the Meta on the event on the upside, and then eventually around 130, maybe getting rid of it. But even just this move alone would have been a really nice trade. Take a look at that action today. It was a really nice trade setup there in Meta off the VWAP, just rode higher. This is one that I missed today for sure. SPY right back down. Morgan Stanley still rejecting that move right now. So you're still in a battle right now. There's no direction picked here. SPY is going for a breakdown here. So I just canceled my stop for a second to take the pressure off of it. 571s, big levels to watch right now on the SPY. XLF, will we make a new low here? I'm watching it, guys, as the VIXY starts to come back there. It's trying to break down here on the SPY, but the Qs are starting to follow it. Come on, come on. And it comes right back. The battle's on out there, guys. 571 just cut some support there at 571. Could have been some buyers, so just got to be careful on whichever side you're on. All right, starting to come back. Nvidia holding the pullback pretty well there. There's one more attempt to do the breakdown there in Morgan Stanley. If it goes back towards the 102.10s, I'm going to put break even stop on the remainder and just leave it alone. If anything, go for the add at the 102. So for right now, you guys can see it. You can see how it's just holding on here. If we look at the MACD has crossed a couple of times on the downside and hasn't held it. So I'm looking right now, 15-minute is nice and crossed on the MACD. Looking for this to go ahead and do the breakdown. 5-minute can't get really back above that 32. Should come back towards that 101.50s. Expansion is expanding away, but not seeing the big breakdown through that 102 just yet. $102.19s and just doesn't want to break here, guys. SPY recovers a little bit there. It's battling in the 571s right now. All right, guys. Seems like we're in another choppy chop market. That's where it gets difficult, guys. The back and forth action can easily just stop you out in between. Qs look like they're ready to come back, but they're just waiting on SPY. I'll look to see if Apple can stay strong here. Nvidia's on the pullback, maybe a VWAP opportunity there. There's the SPY trying to make that break into 571s again, and it keeps just catching 571. It's like it's almost as a repeat buyer there, and so you got to be paying attention for moments like that when the price action's telling you, hey, this level, but it's not breaking. A lot of times you reverse right off of it. So you can see here, 571, 1, 2, 3, 4 times off that 571. What's going to happen here? Is it going to be just a big breakdown, or will it be a drive right back up? And it very easily could be a quick drive up. So that's where I got to protect my Morgan Stanley, and that could keep me in the VIXY trade. But we don't know which way it's going to go right now. So I have bets on both sides right now. Essentially bets on the VIXY. If the SPY wants to come right back up, that will get my VIXY trade in the green. If the SPY wants to break down here, that will get my Morgan Stanley trade in the green. And now we're back towards that 102.15s and 102.10s almost for the breakdown. And what do you see the SPY? Right back up. So be careful out there, team. This is going to be a little bit of a whipsaw in the next, I would say, 5 minutes. All right, let's see what happens here in the SPY. Back down towards that 102.14s here. And the SPY starts to come back up here. You see it? It's just a battle right now, guys. I still see a little bit of an up potential here. So that's why I'm just hanging out in that Morgan Stanley, though. I haven't dropped my stop, but I have it right placed over this break even. So at this point, I don't want to lose on this position. I have 600 shares, a really nice position if it really breaks down on Morgan Stanley. But if it doesn't here, I need to get out break even and take the money and run. It's pretty much taking my own money with the capital that I have, not wasting it. So if the 571 breaks on the SPY, I get a big gain in Morgan Stanley. If this SPY comes back towards 572, I'll probably get a nice gain in the limited account, right? And maybe I break even on the limited account or lose $10 today. That's fine. It's okay. I'm trying to set up ways to keep going after the market and maybe using the way that I'm going after the money to the advantage, right? So there we got an attempt to go back up above the 571s. Now we get an attempt to break down the 571s. Got to be careful on both sides of this trade, man. Apple catching a little bit of a bid there. It's 10:37 already. It's crazy. Crazy that it's already 10:37. Here's SPY trying to work back here. XLF still not going green. That's why I haven't just cut it on Morgan Stanley, but I am seeing the push back, and it gave it more than enough time to load up some size there at the 571. All right, starting to push back there already to 518. It's going to look to see what happens here in the SPY. Still not above the VWAP. Choppy chop, guys. They're trying to chop us out. Careful out there. SPY setting up on this 571.30s. Morgan Stanley already coming back. XLF starting to bounce here. All right, guys, just set a $6 out there for Morgan Stanley. Might get hit on this bounce here and get out. If the SPY just heads down, straight down, I should be able to survive a couple of pennies for the upside move here. So I didn't put break even, but I just put 1 penny in the loss. So 1 tick in the loss here. And I have it set. Now I'm looking for the move. If the SPY comes up here, the VIXY should come down, and we're looking good in the other account, right? And so that's what I got to be doing here, just setting it up both ways. The VIXY here, we'll see what happens in the VIXY. Will this get back above? I got the 1180s as the risk there. Just bouncing all around here. The SPY just heads down here and breaks. The Morgan Stanley trade could break down. I got both trades on, and then from this point, I got to react, right? That's all it is. Nvidia right back to the highs. Leans me more to the upside move today. At least in the first maybe 2-3 hours of the day. We'll see though. SPY still heavy. Back to the Morgan Stanley trade. Still in that, guys. Still in it. SPY just can't pick where it wants to go. Just canceled my stop in Morgan Stanley. Just looking at it right now, I have it ready to be placed, but watching the action, the SPY is coming back here. You're getting that mixed noise right now, where it's just trying to determine the area. Qs are going back to the upside here. SPY is trying to make the up move, but hasn't gotten the move above the VWAP. 571.40s. Looking to see if that shows up. All right, now getting the pressure on Morgan Stanley. It's going to be literally a penny or two away from my entry here. As the SPY comes right back into maybe a red candle. So that's why I'm just waiting for a second. It's still trying to determine which way it wants to go. And the SPY, I feel like, is just like holding up the market here. The Qs want to run, but only if the SPY is going to follow it. And right back down. So this is where it gets difficult, right? You're getting this mix. There's a move down towards the 517, 571s again on the SPY. Will it break it this time? And the VIXY back to the 1175s. So it's crazy, but it's just back and forth with that. Now getting the pressure there on Morgan Stanley. SPY could lift in a second here. Would have got stopped already. Would have got triggered out on that Morgan Stanley. Just want to note that. Would have got triggered out if I had the stop placed there. Even though the stock really hasn't done anything right here, right? I'm still watching it to see if it's going to lift. There comes the 40s. That gives it the opportunity here. Let's see if it's a quick sweep. And it's a rejection. Not a quick sweep. Right now, 36 could come into play here with Morgan Stanley. So I got to understand, how much do I want to risk there? The SPY still hasn't made the move, so that's why I'm risking. Just got a call there. Jerome Powell trying to call me, guys. Trying to tell me about the market right here. I'm like, Jerome, tell me what's going on. What's going on? Not giving me anything, man. Saying it's transitory. Still bullish, but JPM making new lows. Yeah, I see the XLF, Izzy. XLF is pretty weak still. Trying to hang on. Hang on. As the SPY just makes a down attempt now. Hang on. Hang on. Right back down, guys. Back towards the 26s in Morgan Stanley. It's just choppy chop out there. Don't get chopped because it is going to try it. Now back to 571s on the SPY as it looks to maybe break the 571s. We'll see what happens here. Does it just flush through that 571? That's definitely danger station there. Q's coming back down too. So seems like we're chopping up. Here's XLF making an up move. And that tells me watch out for the whipsaw. Right back up here. $571 setting up there. Should be lower on Morgan Stanley already as the SPY looks like it's going to break down, but it's not. And that tells me be careful here for the whipsaw up. $31s by $32s. Now the SPY catches another little bounce, right? So you just got to be careful, man. We're right on that stage where we can get this whipsaw to the upside, especially with the XLF, the way it's starting to prop. So now 44.80 showing up there for the XLF. It's trying to come back here, even though the SPY is looking like it wants to break. So whichever way it goes right now, I'm going to try to trade it too. Starting to come back up. XLF makes another move back up. 32 showing up on the offer there for Morgan Stanley. I see a lot of sizing at 36. Risking about $50 right now. And the SPY comes back down below the 571.20. Choppy chop, guys. 571.13 showing back up. Will the SPY take it? 571.04s. The attempted breakdown move is here. Let's see it. And it holds like a wall. Let's see it. Will it break or not? really impressive now. All the volumes above it on Morgan Stanley, that tells me that it could be a short. And look how it bounces off of it, guys. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 times off that 571. Four times off that 571. It's ridiculous sometimes, guys. Now that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 areas to break the 571 if you really look at it. Doesn't want to break the 571. Tells me that it could go right back to that 571.50s on the upside. I'm getting 36s to come into play. I'm getting ready to get stopped out in Morgan Stanley unless something changes in the SPY right now. SPY coming to that 571.06. Will it break or not? It's a big level to watch right now. Big level. Let's go. What are you going to do? Saw a big sell order go through there. It's 571, 570.90s. We're finally getting a little bit of leak, but look how the leak just gives up. $570.90s showing up here, looking good here for the breakdown. Let's see if we get it. SPY just holding up there, guys. This tells me that it could whipsaw right back up. But it's definitely a slowdown here, guys. It's trying to just lull you to sleep and then make the move. And this is how it goes sometimes. Take a look at where the opening action was today and where we're trading, guys. We're not trading far from that opening action. All right, guys, about to get stopped out in the other account, right? The limited account as the SPY keeps going down here. But Morgan Stanley also hasn't made the move. So there's the first side attempt in the SPY to the downside there. And that's going to help the downside move here in Morgan Stanley. So I can add to my Morgan Stanley and take a shot here for the breakdown. If it's closer towards the 110, 102.10s, I'll take that shot of adding and then going for the breakdown. We'll see if it gets there, but it needs to start to really kind of start to break down here and going towards that 102. Recovers towards that 571 is a little bit dangerous there. Could get stopped out in the smaller one and then see the reversal come back. So that's where it gets really careful here on both sides of the trade. You got to be careful. All right, guys, gave myself another penny there in the VIXY because this could swing back, and I'm going to be a little bit careful in there. If I lose $20 in the limited account today, that's fine. So I gave myself another cent there to play around with this just in case this comes and whipsaws me. So got to be careful on both sides of the trade here. But at some point, we should see a little bit of a pickup here. So just trying to stay in the trade here. We'll see what happens. As it starts to come back, I give myself another penny. So 30 bucks risk here, which is an average trade, right? So just trying to see what happens here. Because if the SPY whipsaws right back up, guess what? I need to stay in that VIXY one. So it's a little bit of some mixed noise right now. That's why I didn't open up on that Morgan Stanley short and add to that right there. Even though the market did make a down attempt, Morgan Stanley didn't follow it. As the market comes right back up. So that's what I was a little bit concerned about, guys. I'm setting up here a stop at 102.38. Might lose 72 on this Morgan Stanley, but I got to be careful here. I got to get ready to get out because when it comes back, it's going to be a savage move on the upside. And I'm seeing Apple starting to push there, 226.60s, looking good for the push back towards 228. Here comes the SPY right back above 571. So I'll just keep a watch on that 571 now. I see XLF coming back, tells me to maybe just get out of this Morgan Stanley. So just goes to show me, right? So now I'm back down. I'm trying to tighten up my risk here. I'm only down about 42 right now on that. I'm going to still keep it at like a $60 risk here to give myself a little bit more room. They're setting it at 102.37, so $66 of risk there on that Morgan Stanley position, just in case we get this quick sweep down in the SPY. I have both trades on and can just try to take both trades here to see what plays out. We're getting this mix action right now, and I just got to be careful on both sides. That's what I'm setting up here. Both trades are now set up with risk and looking to see what plays out, right? So a lot of times you're going to get to this point. I'm at that point where I want to just see where the market goes. I have bets on both sides. Let's see what happens now. All right, TNON. I'm going to go to some of the smaller names. I'm going to start wrapping it up here, guys. It's 10:52. See TNON back there to $5. Tried to go to 6 and then failed. At this point, I can see this one maybe coming right back down. It's going to be a little bit of a battle. Octo is still staying strong, so just be careful with that one. How did the shipping stocks do today? SBLK, how'd that do? It's up a little bit there. Zim, down a little bit. So a little bit of a mixed noise in some of the shipping area. SPY coming back to 571.19 tells me that, yeah, you're looking good there for the up move now. So let's see if we get this upside reaction there. I'll get stopped out in Morgan Stanley. There's the trigger, guys. There's the trigger in Morgan Stanley. So I'll look to see what happens there. Took the little bit of a hit there, but set myself up for a big win in Morgan Stanley, and that's all I can do. If it starts to come down here, hey, so be it, man. It gave me a lot of opportunities to go for that big win. I'll take my 177 down day again in that account. So it's been a little bit tough. 3 straight red days. We'll talk a little bit about that as we return tomorrow. So come in tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that. SPY still not getting that big boost though, right? One thing though to note, the reason why I also got out is the XLF going higher. XLF is, of course, that ETF that just made me think, okay, Morgan Stanley, just got to get out of this now. We'll see what happens a little bit later in Morgan Stanley. Definitely want to still keep it on the radar, but for right now, definitely got me out there. Right now, I got to go over and take a look to see what happens with this VIXY position. As I am still getting the SPY to come back, I want to see Nvidia continue to push and the SPY come take that 572. If that happens, I'll be looking really great in the VIXY. I could add to this VIXY as it went back towards that 80. Could add here and then look for the breakdown and hold break even. I'm thinking about it. It's definitely the smaller account, so I don't want to go too crazy on the size and then expose myself to too big of a risk. So if I did have to add here, I would have to hold break even, right? So looking to see what's going to happen here with the SPY and the Qs. If the Qs can just take off back towards the highs and the SPY can take off to the highs, yeah, I have no problem adding to it. Apple looks good here. Let's take a look here at Microsoft and Apple. Of course, Meta's event is going to kick off in just a little bit there, so we can see that one. Microsoft still staying strong there. Amazon doesn't look too bad on the VWAP. It's been red now. Look to see if it goes green towards the 194. We'll see if that makes the move here. Taking a look there at Apple. Let's go to it. Apple holding in on that pullback. Held the VWAP a little bit above the VWAP, so could make a still pullback to 226. We'll see what happens there. Apple kind of holding in, trying to make that move to 228. Hasn't done it just yet. Nvidia topping up a little bit here, slowing down. So just be careful with quick pullbacks there. Just keeping a very close eye on both sides of these trades right now. Would like to see this go and now go for a takedown through the 74s and 72s, going into the lower 60s. We have an opportunity for it to go to the 1150s today. So keeping that in mind, And that would be a nice monster win on this. So just trying to get that nice account and keep it pushing in the limited account. Of course, you guys know all about the limited account. We've been talking about it here. Have you guys taken a look at our limited account? Take a look at it before I get out of here. All you got to do is make the 1350. And that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm going after it. And with 20K, you guys see me, I can still take 1,000 share position. So there's still opportunity here. We'll see what happens on the day. Overall, a little bit of red on my main account. Let's take a look at the swing. How's that doing? Picard cutting down break even as Picard came lower. So break even pretty much stop on Picard. I'll look to get back into that. MSOS is coming back towards the 7. We'll look to see if we add at 7 or below. That's something that I'll be watching. SPY still coming back there. So we're looking to see if we can finally get that move there for that continued breakdown in the VIXY. Right now approaching that 77, 76. The low is 72. You got a decent amount of size volume right now at the 75 where it's trying to break, but just keeping a very close eye on it right now as I'm going to cancel my stop loss right now because there's no point in having it as I'm watching the position. So sometimes I'll have it placed, but it's only when I'm not watching it that I'm really having the stop out there. A lot of times the stop is going to be either just to secure profits or to go ahead and be when I can't watch it. So that's more of a protection stop. But a lot of times another thing that you can be using stops is to protect gains, right? So when you get those quick spikes and you see a nice big number that you're okay with taking off, why not just put a stop there and let the stock keep running, maybe add a target profit to see if you get another swing higher. But this is one way to secure the win, something that I want to teach you guys. All right, about to wrap it up. It's 10:58, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Nothing's going on in the market. It slowed the heck down, and a lot of that is the SPY action, trying to get back above the VWAP, but still has yet to do it. Essentially going nowhere from the open. The open price, 571.10. We're at 571.20, guys. We moved 20 cents in about 3 hours of the market. So is it trying to lull you to sleep? Hell yes, it's trying to lull you to sleep. It's trying to say, hey, keep trading, guys. Trade. If you trade a lot in this time, you ruin your accounts a lot of the time. And I'm going to be as honest as I can be. If you're listening in right now and you needed this, a little bit of a hit down because you're over trading, well, listen in. Over trading is the number one way I see newer traders lose accounts. So yes, trade the pool gives you buying power to make a lot of trades, but it's like I always talk about it, right? With great power comes great responsibility. My Spider-Man action, right? That's the truth, guys. You have great power here, but it's also coming with this responsibility of trading like a professional. Yes, I said it, guys. And you guys see me. I have abilities to now size up. I'm taking bigger swings. Took a bigger swing there in the Morgan Stanley. 600 shares is pretty decent size for Morgan Stanley. So we'll see what happens, guys, in these accounts and what happens in the market today. But like always, stay safe, keep focusing, and remember, sometimes it's going to be a no trade day. Don't force something to happen. Don't just say, I'm going to take this trade just to take a trade today. It's okay to say, guys, I just don't see the action working out today. So I'm going to get the hell out of here, and I'll see you guys back tomorrow. Stay safe out there, traders. I'll see you guys back in the morning. And like always, check out all our evaluations right there on Trade the Pool's site, right? There's also a link down below for you YouTube users, and check out our Discord. If you guys haven't checked out our Discord, I think it's definitely very important. Of course, like always, guys, keep a watch on the resistance and supports on the hourly of the SPY today. And you're looking to see if it can break that range. And that's one of the biggest tips that I'll give you guys today. Does it break the range here today? And if it doesn't break that range and it's just staying within that, be careful of over trading and not seeing a real move. We'll see you guys back tomorrow morning. Stay safe out there, traders, and I'll give you back. The question is, will you be battling along with me? I'll see you guys. Stay safe out there, traders, and let me know, what do you guys want to see more or less of right here on Trade the Pool? Hit the like button. And as always, guys, remember, our main chat is in the YouTube side. I want to see some more traders talking in there. I'll see you guys back tomorrow morning.